Candace Bergen. Self-acceptance has been a blessed byproduct of middle age. Brene Brown. The truth is, belonging starts with self-acceptance. Your level of belonging, in fact, can never be greater than your level of self-acceptance, because believing that you are enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. Debbie Ford. Self-awareness is the ability to take an honest look at your life without any attachment to it being right or wrong, good or bad.
Would you like the middle age quote?
Yes.
I love Candace Bergen. Okay, so here we are. You know, this series started based on an idea I got from a book written by Robert Brummett called Living Originally. And it's about transformation, right? I think that's what we're all here for, right? We're looking to transform in some way. Some of us are looking to transform a little bit more than others. I know I go through stages where I think everything's got to change. And not as often anymore, but there was a time where I always thought everything had to change, and I didn't think I was capable of doing it at the same time. It was a very hopeless place to be. So in other times it's just little gradual things, little tiny things that we want to take a look at and shift a little bit. But that's what this series is all about. We're going to go deeper, and that's why I wanted to have that Daniel Nahmod song. If you have not heard of him, I would encourage you to look him up on YouTube. Daniel Nahmod, it's Nahmod. He's written so many songs, and they're wonderful in just so many ways. But listening to those lyrics, get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. If that doesn't say it all, I don't know what does. We're going deeper, folks. It's not about what people are doing out there. It's about what we're doing. And it's about what we're doing in here as much as what we are doing out there. I have said this many times. I can come here on a Sunday morning and I can say all of these things and we can talk about all of these wonderful things that we could be doing, but when we go out there, if we're treating people not as nice as we could, or if we're getting into confrontations with people that we really shouldn't be getting into confrontations about, then we need to take a look at that. I'm sorry. Right? So it is about transformation. I do want to go deeper, and I got news for you. There is no destination to get to. You can't at any point say, well, I'm there now. Nice knowing you. See ya. There's no graduation here. There's more for me to do. There's always more that I can find out about myself. Always. At least that's what I believe right now. I'll let you know if I get there, and then, I'll tell you how Okay. So Robert Brummett said, to live originally is to live consciously from the ever-present origin of life. Source, right? God. It is to live from the very source of all that is. We are connected to that source. So when you hear a song lyric that talks about, I think Daniel said it in the song, if you hear a song lyric that says something about getting closer to source, I encourage you to interpret that just slightly different. We're already as close as we can get, but my awareness is not always there. So I feel a little bit more separated from source than I would like to. Just by my remembering that I'm 100% connected at all times, 24/7 and all that good stuff, just by remembering that, already I've deepened my awareness of it. Okay? So we are close. We are as close as we can be. It's less than a breath away. Right? It's closer than breath is the way it's been described before. But it's my awareness It's what am I tuning into on a daily basis? So I picked the daily word from December 26th of 2015 because of the word authentic. I'm going to share with you that my being authentic with you is extremely important to me. What you see is what you get. Okay? I don't think that any of you have ever talked to me on the phone or seen me in a Zoom session or a class of some sort where I have been different. And if I have been, let me know, because that's not what I'm shooting for. I'm speaking to you now the way I would speak to you one-on-one. That's my goal, that's my mission, I feel, is to do this. I want to present an authentic Kathleen. KK. That's what Jim Roseberg calls me, KK. So when he says that, don't be surprised. I always used to sign my notes at work, KK, so that's why he did that. Authentic. Okay? Because that's where the Brené Brown quote also talks about when we're authentic, we can be vulnerable. We can be okay with showing up imperfectly. How many of us have ever struggled with the idea of we can't possibly let anyone know we're not perfect? Right? It's tough. It's tough. That was one of my biggest battles of all time, was because you could not possibly know that I didn't know the answer to anything. So anytime anybody asked me, have you seen this movie? Oh yeah, it was great. Or I'd wait to find out what they thought about the movie first, and then I would share the same opinion. Yeah, even if I hadn't seen it. You know? Do you know this author? Do you know this TV show? Do you know, where do you want to go to eat? Oh, wherever you want to go is fine with me. Then they pick something that I can't possibly eat. And then, it was always about people pleasing, which again is in her quote. Let me revisit that one, because that's a... it's not with her, but anyway, that's okay. She talks about belonging starts with self-acceptance, right? Believing that you're enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic, vulnerable, and imperfect. Vulnerable is scary. Mm-hmm. Vulnerable is very scary, but here's the secret to it all. You ready? We're all vulnerable. Whether we appear to be or not, we're all going through the same things. Different set of circumstances, but we all have those same emotions, with those same fears that can come up when we're in that human side of things, when we're focused a little bit more on the human than we are on the divine, right? So everybody's got something they're battling. Even the people that are doing things that we really don't think are acceptable, that are really out of line, out of character. It's no longer a question of how could they do that? It's a question of what happened to them to bring them to that point. And it's not always easy to get there. Don't let me make it sound like it's a piece of cake. Yeah, oh yeah, just change your thinking. It's not always. But for me, I have found that it's what I need to do. I do need to remember that there is no separation from anyone at any time. You ready to reveal the glory of your authentic self?
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's glory within?
Some days.
Some days, yes, thank you for that, yeah. Not always looking in the mirror going, oh, you glorious Kathleen, you. Oh, you're a winner today. Not every day. No. Some of you may be sitting here thinking, glory? I don't know. That's okay. You don't have to go along with the crowd. If you're feeling that way, may I just say to you, there is a glory within you that I see here already. So just trust that it's there and that you're not quite able to see it yet, but you will. You wouldn't be here today. You wouldn't be with us on this journey if you weren't at some level, understanding that there is that divine glory within. That's the truth. It's exciting stuff, but it's also scary. When I say to someone, when I say to myself, okay, we're going deeper, I'm like, uh-oh, right? Buckle up, right? We're gonna be on this ride and we're gonna go deep, and we may find out things about ourselves that we're really not happy about. The good news is that if you find out something that you weren't aware of that really doesn't please you, all you need to do is change your mind. All you need to do is change your thinking and practice at changing your thinking, and you can shift any way you want to shift. I'm not saying that you can shift to the way society wants you to be. I'm not saying you need to shift to the way Unity is talking, our beliefs, whatever we're talking about here. You don't have to do that, but you can switch to where you want to switch to. So it seems a little scary to think about diving deep and going within. But it's going to be okay. Carl Jung talked about peeling back those layers, right? We look at what we are not. I'm not this body that you see in front of you. Right? I'm not about, I'm not the clothes that I wear, I'm not the apartment that I have, although my apartment is much nicer than what I had. I have furniture now. Did you see that on some of you are on Facebook? I have 2 pieces of furniture. No, I have 4 pieces of furniture in my house. I didn't show the picture of the bed yet because it's still getting settled. It's a memory foam mattress, so I'm waiting for it to puff up. But yeah, I have a chair and a chofa, and I haven't had furniture in over a year. So it's exciting. Who knew? And the TV is hooked up. I'm good to go. I had the Mets on yesterday. I haven't watched the Mets on TV in 28 years. So anyway, I'm excited. But that's not who I am or what I am. Right? It's fun though.
Part of you.
Part of me, yeah. Yeah. There you go. So going deeper for me used to be very, very scary. The thought of it was just terrifying, to the point where I just would do anything but. Now, I don't hesitate as much. Meaning I still hesitate, friends. So if you're feeling hesitant, that's okay. How about the scripture reading? These are all lining up with us going deeper and looking at self-acceptance and self-awareness. These are the first 2 core practices in Robert Brummett's book. So he talks about radical self-acceptance. Radical means huge, right? Mm-hmm. Major self-acceptance. For those of us who have struggled with our lives of accepting ourselves at all, think about what it's going to be like to radically accept yourself. I could ask I did this in a class once. A teacher asked us to do this, to stand up one at a time and to say to the group, I accept myself just the way I am. Will you accept me? And the group in the class would say, we accept you just the way you are. When I tell you that there was not a dry eye in that room, because it's one thing to be told to stand up and say it out loud and then to sit back down. It's one thing to be in a class and to be told, okay, do you accept yourself? And you say, yeah, I accept myself. And then stand up in front of a group of people and say it, and then be told, yes, we accept you just the way you are. I'm not going to make you do it today. Yeah. If the recording didn't pick up on that, there was a heavy sigh in the room, like, whoo, we're off the hook, okay. But it's powerful. It's powerful. Look at yourself in the mirror. When you go home today, look at yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the eye and say, I accept you just the way you are. And see if that doesn't bring up something. I accept you just the way you are. I don't accept myself every day, just the way I am. I have to work on that still. Just because I'm in school doesn't mean anything. Bless you.
Thank you.
So the scripture from Ephesians 4:22 and 24, you were taught to put away your former way of life, your old self. Well, that's speaking to us with this lesson, right? If you haven't been told to put away your old self, my question to you is, and you don't answer out loud, but would you like to put away your old self? Because if you would, this is your opportunity. You can do it at any moment. You don't have to wait for New Year's Eve. We don't have to wait until next month or next year or, when I turn 60 or any of that stuff. I can start right here, right now, anytime I want. And the rest of the reading is, and to clothe yourselves with the new self, created according to the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness. So that's where we may get tripped up a little bit. Righteousness like God? Holiness like God? Yeah. If we're made in the image and likeness of God, if that is a belief, and it doesn't have to be, but if it is, then I must have those qualities within me. And if I have those qualities within me, yes, I am holy. Yes, I have righteousness, but in a good way. Not in the pontificating out there and telling people everything they're doing wrong. Not that way. But just following universal principles, to me, is what righteousness is all about. Maybe a different interpretation. But that's the way I like it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Put away your former way of life. Clothe yourselves with the new self. It's looser. It's more comfortable. The core practices from Robert Brumman. Radical self-awareness and deep self-acceptance. What does this mean? It means that I don't beat myself up when I make a mistake. It means that I don't say, when somebody compliments me, I don't say, oh, this whole thing? I say thank you. The radical self-awareness, I see I'm getting the two mixed up. I thought it was self-acceptance. I apologize. Radical self-awareness. That's where I am willing to go where no man has gone before. And that is very deep within. I have never wanted to do this more. The song, Daniel Nehemiah's song, talked about going deeper and deeper. Doesn't matter how old we are, doesn't matter how young we are, we can do this, we can realize more and more and more. And Robert Brumman's suggestion regarding the radical self-awareness is, let go of the fear. We're not going to get hurt by this. It's only going to help. When I first started looking at turning my life around and changing some of the really bad life choices I was making, it was the end of 1995, which is over 23 years ago, and I didn't think I could do it. I just didn't think that I had it in me to dive that deep. I was too frightened of what I might see. People were telling me things like journal. Write down your stuff, write this out and then we'll talk about it. I don't need to put down on paper that I was a bad person. I don't need to share all of that and put it as evidence that somebody might find even though I lived alone. It was so frightening. It was a piece of paper. And I was afraid of it. And then it was another human being asking me to share with them a little bit so that they could share their experience with me, and then we could help each other. And that was even more terrifying. What I'm grateful for today is that this person had these principles working in their life too, and they helped me because she was authentic and vulnerable with me. In order to get me to open up, she would tell me her stuff. She would tell me her stories. She was no angel, let me tell you. But I didn't know. I knew her as this beautiful woman who just appeared to be perfect. But she wasn't. She had gone through life struggles. We've all gone through life struggles. And she shared it with me. And by her opening herself up to me, helped me to open myself up to her. And she had a funny story that we used to talk at least once a week for a while, probably first 2 or 3 years. And she would say, Kathleen has to talk for at least 11 minutes. The first 10 was always small talk. You know, how are you? How are the dogs? What's going on? You going on vacation? What's happening? Oh, I'm fine. I'm good, you know. And I would just keep it going for about 10 minutes. If she could get me into minute 11, I would finally tell her what was really happening in my life. I would finally tell her, you know, my daughter's going in the hospital again, or, you know, there was a period, I think, from the end of 95 until 2000. The end of 2000, my daughter was in and out of hospitals all the time. And it was very difficult, and it was very challenging, but we got through it, and a lot of it was because this friend of mine helped me quite a bit. But she had to get me to minute 11 to actually say, it looks like my daughter might be going to the hospital again. So, I was a hard nut to crack, for sure. Again, because of my fear of that. Because if I really become self-aware, how in heaven's name am I going to self-accept? If I really look at what has gone on in my life, how am I possibly going to accept me just as I am? There are some things I can't change in the past. We all have that, right?
Yeah.
We've all made choices, we've all made mistakes, and there are things that we cannot do to go back and fix. So, do I stay stuck in that thought pattern? Do I stay there for the rest of my life, or do I choose to move forward and do what I like to call maybe living amends kind of a thing? I'm really super nice to cashiers and waiters and waitresses. You know, I try to be friendly to everybody. I've shared this with you before. The people at work think I'm nuts. I work in a company where there's over 1,000 employees, and there's 700 of them are in Hartford, and then the others are in New Haven and Stamford. And there's a guy that delivers the mail, and I have no idea what his name is, but when I happen to run into him most mornings, because that's the time when he's delivering that I happen to go by the copy room or the mail room, and I see him, and I always say good morning, and he's so funny. So this past week he said, "Hello, nice lady." And I said, "Oh, hello," and he goes, "You're the nice lady, you always smile." And I'm like, "Well, I'm glad you think I'm nice." It was so cool just to do that. But those are my ways of kind of making up for the really bad choices I made back then that I can't go back to and fix. Or change. And as the song said earlier, everything had to happen exactly the way it did, or I would not be here in front of you today. Mm-hmm. So it had to be that way. So there's a level of acceptance right then and there, right? So, yeah. I want you to say a few things after me. Are you ready? You buckled up? I am enough.
I am enough.
Now put some energy behind that. I am enough.
I am enough.
I am safe.
I am safe.
I am ready.
I am ready.
I am authentic.
I am authentic.
I love my imperfection.
I love my imperfection.
Okay, some heads went down on that one. With oomph, I love my imperfection.
I love my imperfections.
I love your imperfection too, see? That's great. You are ready. You are ready. This is a journey, right? And we're doing this together.
You know,
That's-
Kathy, when you said I am enough, I am a nut. That's what I heard the first time.
I love it, and June just went right along. Did you say I am a nut after you?
Well, I was going to, but I thought that was funny because I heard said enough, I heard a nut.
You know, and everybody wants to be enough, N-U-F-F. Be enough.
That's when you.
That's a big one for me, being enough. You know, not having to put the mask back on. Being authentic with you. That's a little scary too. Being in front of a group of people where, you know, what if I say something that they might disagree with? You know, what if they don't like me? Oh no. What if? You know, there's some fear. Not anymore. I know you guys, and I'm comfortable enough in my own skin where I know I'm just sharing from the heart. Listen, I could do the same talk next week and it'd be totally different. You know that, because you know that I don't really prep a talk. I know it's scary for some of you, I'm sorry. But I get the quotes together, I get the reading together, whatever the deal may be, and then whatever you get is what's happening on Sunday morning.
Right. That's right.
Yep.
Don't tell my teachers, they won't like that. They want us to plan out, they want us to map the talk, and I will do that for them. When they want me to do a talk, I will be happy to map out things, no problem. But here's the deal. We're doing this together. Right? There really, truly is nothing to be afraid of, but if you are afraid, just know that our love is holding you up. Just know that our lights are all shining for all of us here together, so that we're going to do this, and so much transformation is going to happen, and it is already happening. You know, it's just amazing what goes on. And it all starts with just a couple of things. Radical self-awareness and deep self-acceptance. We just need to be willing. So if you feel like you're not willing at any point, simply say to yourself, I am going to be willing to pray for willingness. It'll come. It'll come. I've talked long enough. It's time to take these ideas into meditation. And see where we go from here. I invite you to take a couple of deep breaths now, to just get settled on this beautiful Sunday morning. Think about the scripture, putting away our former way of life and clothing ourselves with the new self. That new self is allowing the Christ presence to shine through us. We are guided by an inner spirit that never turns off. I release the need to fear going deeper. I have the willingness to become radically self-aware and to deeply accept myself just as I am in this moment. I trust the universe. I trust the source of all that is to guide me, to love me, to keep me focused on moving forward. I am enough. I am ready to be authentic and vulnerable with those around me. I am ready because I am safe. I take these ideas into the silence. Today, I put away my former way of life, my old self. I am created according to the likeness of God in true holiness. I hold this idea in my heart, recognizing the deep truth, the absolute truth of my being. I am divine love. I am divine peace. And my actions back up those words. This life is a blessing. The lessons are welcomed, and I am grateful. And so it is. Amen. When you're ready, you can take a couple of deep breaths and open your eyes.